Good morning, sir.
Copies.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So we are having, we'll be starting exactly at 11:15 because I have told, so we need to wait for some time. So in between, if you can just introduce yourself one by one. So what about Pallavi?
Yes, good morning, sir. My name is Pallavi, and I have completed my bachelor's degree, that is BCom Accounts Honors from Jaipuria College.
Okay, great, fine. What about Sweta?
Sir, my name is Shweta Mandal and I'm from Durgapur, West Bengal. So I completed BTech from Haldia Institute of Technology in EC.
EC, okay, great, fine. What about Amol? If you can introduce.
Yes, sir. This is Amal. I have completed my graduation in 2011 and now started working till in TBS Logistics Operation.
Okay, fine. And what was your graduation degree?
BA Arts.
Arts. Okay, great. Okay. And what about Pranto?
Good morning, sir. My name is Pranto De. I have completed my bachelor's from Chetanandaram Jaipuria College with a specialization in accounting and finance from Calcutta University.
Great. Okay. What about Momita? What about Momita? Momita, you can unmute your this mic.
Hello.
Momita, tell me.
Yeah, am I audible now?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, this is Momita from South Kolkata. I'm BSc Honors graduate from Calcutta University.
Okay.
Looking forward to gain a better understanding and knowledge in business management that will help to grow my career.
Great. So what is your graduation degree? BSc?
BSc, yeah.
BSc in which?
Botany.
BSc in botany. Okay, great. Fine. What about Sharmishta?
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning.
Yeah, I'm from Assam. Myself, Sharmistha Parashar, and I'm studying my BBA. I'm still in the final semester of BBA.
Okay, so your examination has not been completed yet?
It's not completed yet.
Okay, okay, fine, great. What about Suparna?
Hi, sir.
So I can see that a lot of people are attending the class.
Yes. Sir, please. Sorry, sir. एक second. अरे जाओ सर, तो देखते हैं. अरे जाओ.
Yes, tell me. I mean, just introduce yourself.
Sir, I'm Suparna Shah. Now I have not completed my graduation exam. It's my sixth exam. Sixth semester is going on.
So your graduation degree is BBA or any other subject?
No, sir. Accounts honors. I'm reading accounts honors.
Accounts honor. Which college?
Norshingu Datta College, under of Calcutta University.
Under Calcutta University. Okay, great, fine. What about Shoinik?
I graduated in 2017 from Calcutta University. Meanwhile, I was doing job in Wipro, previously on Capital First in banking sector as well.
Okay, okay, great. What about Priya? Priya, actually you are not audible.
Sir, I'm not on mute.
Am I audible right now?
Now you are audible. Yeah.
Okay. Sir, my name is Priya Paul and I have done my BCom honors from City College under Calcutta University, and I have passed out from in 2019 and now I'm pursuing MBA.
Okay, great. What about Ruby? Ruby, are you available now?
Yes, sir. Good
Yes.
morning, sir.
Yeah.
I'm Ruby Pandey from Silapathar, District Dhemaji, Assam. I completed my graduation from Silapathar Science College in the year 2019.
Great. Okay. So whom we have missed? We have missed Madhumita. Yeah, Madhumita, tell me. Madhumita, you can unmute. Yes, tell me, Madhumita.
Sir, I am Madhumita Maji. Now I am 6th semester, Sipur Dinabandhu Institution under Calcutta University.
BCom or BBA?
Yes, sir.
BCom.
BCom.
Okay. What about Povitro?
Sir, I am completed my BCom in 2018. Currently, I am working in Elizabeth Redrina as accounts executive.
Okay. Great.
Yes, sir.
Fine. What about Ananna?
So I have completed BBA from Ashutosh College.
Ashutosh College. Great. Shourabh?
Hello.
Shourabh, tell me.
I completed my BCom in 2019.
Okay. Great. Farooq?
Sir, I complete my BSc 2018 from Bardhaman University.
Great. BSc in which subject?
Computer science.
Computer science. Okay. What about Ashmita? Ashmita, are you available?
Hello, sir.
Yes, tell me.
Hello.
Ashmita, we can hear. Yeah.
Hello, sir.
Ashmita, we can hear. You can tell me. I mean, just something about yourself.
Hello.
Ashmita,
Yes,
we
sir.
can hear.
I'm doing my graduation on English honors from Bidhannagar
Okay, got it.
College, and now
Okay, fine. What about Ratnadeep? Ratnadeep, are you here? Okay, then Srijita?
Yes, sir.
Just give us a brief idea about yourself. I mean, what's your name and what your qualification?
Sir, I am Srijata Chaudhary and I have graduated from BC College in BBA honors.
BBA. Okay, that's fine. Anyone else we have missed?
Sir, am I Lucky?
Okay, Lucky, right.
Sir, my name is Lucky. I am from Bihar. I have completed my BSc with mathematics from DTU Gorakhpur.
Great, fine. So you have a mixed batch from BBA to BCom to BSc. So let's see. But I have not heard anything about BA, right? Oh no, there is one person. Amol is from the arts.
Yes, sir. Yes,
right.
sir.
Fine, great, good. So today our topic of discussion, as we have mentioned, that post COVID-19 employment and employability, right? What do you mean by employment and what do you mean by employability? What is the difference between that? What do you think?
employment is when the person in an economy is performing some job and contributing to the economy in monetary terms.
Okay. Anything else?
So, employment means having a paid job, and employability means your ability to gain that job and to maintain it by having some skill and knowledge.
Right. Good. Good. Very good. Anyone else want to contribute? What is the difference between what do you mean by employment and employability?
Sir, lifetime job security is an employment and limited job security is employability.
It is not that. I mean, basically employability and okay, fine. Anyone else want to give any idea?
So employment is the agreement between employee and employer, where employees do a certain job in between in return employer in between employer giving the certain amount of salary or in hourly basis.
Okay. Fine. And what is your idea about this this COVID-19 and how it is impacting these two factors, employment and employability? What is your idea?
Sir, I just worked in a service sector previously in Wipro. So my industry got devastated after COVID-19.
No, not they are devastated. I'm asking about from the employment and the employability perspective. Like say for example, every day in the newspaper or the any kind of media, we are seeing that news is like there is a job cut, there is a termination, there is a salary reduction, this kind of things that is happening, right? So that is an impact. There is a like say for even the companies like TCS, they are honoring the offer letter they have given, but they have actually delayed the process. Okay, because every year they used to give joining in the month of September, October. But yesterday I had a discussion with the TCS HR. They are telling that at the end of the year we'll be giving the joining. That is in the month of December or the end of December. You may think of January also, because that is an impact. Because even a company like TCS have to delay the process of the joining, right? Though they are not telling, they are not going to dishonor. They are going to dishonor the offer. They are not going to accept the candidate. They are telling that no, everybody who have been selected from the campus, we are going to hire them. But the process may get delayed, because in other years, what is happening that after the result is out in the month of August or September, these companies were running after us. That is, why don't you send your student to join, because we have an urgent requirement. Immediately send. But this year they are telling that we are delaying the process. So that is an impact. Okay, that is an impact on the process. Now there is another impact, like now there is a change in the business processes because of the this COVID-19 impact. The major problem is in the mobility of the people due to the lockdown phase. Even in the unlock phase also there is a constraint in the mobility, may not be legally but mentally, because people are scared. People don't want to move out until and unless there is a requirement. Okay, maximum people I'm talking about. So that is the reason there is an impact on all the businesses. So that's why the companies are thinking, like say, if the consumer are not able to come to us, that we will be going to the consumer. So that's why many companies have started actually home visit policy. You can take a perfect example of the Urban Clap, that saloon at home. Why this facility is being started? Because the people are scared to go to the parlors. So that's why they are telling that we have changed our business process. We will be coming to you, and all these safety measures will be followed. These are the things. So that in order to generate the confidence about the safety security. So these are the things, because before COVID-19, we are not this was not our in the business process or the marketing principles, but now safety and security is a marketing principle. But otherwise the consumers will not be satisfied, because they will be thinking that from where I am ordering the food. That's why that they have to show that we are having neat and clean kitchen, employees temperature and the health condition are being checked regularly. Why they are telling that? In order to increase the level of confidence among the consumer. Okay, so that is the process. So these are the impact on the business processes. Now based on this thing, your employability is also changed. Employability means your capability of getting the job. So now you have to be physically fit as well. If you are having a above normal temperature, you are not supposed to work actually. So that means, say for example, you are working as a delivery person. Now in the morning, your temperature shows that your temperature is more than 98 degree. The company will not allow you to serve the customer. So that is a fact. Now there is a now public transportation system is very limited. That's why these people must be having their own transportation system, though that is not pertaining to your skill set. But the most of the companies are telling, if it is especially a job which is require traveling within the city, any kind of job where you need to move, you should have a driving license and should have a bike. So that is an impact. Earlier it was not there, because there is a huge number of public transportation systems, so you don't have any problem. So even if you are in marketing, you can move through public transportation like metro, train, buses, etc. Now there is a scarcity. They can understand that the people at the employees cannot reach on time. So that is the reason, and the employee safety is also an important thing. So that is the reason they are doing. Another thing, alternatively, those companies who can afford, afford means those companies' business processes are like that can be done work from home. So that's why they are continuing the work from home if that is possible. Like if probably you know that Facebook have already declared that working from home policy extended to July 2021. They have already declared, because they have understood that this is going to continue. Microsoft has also declared the same thing. Okay, Google also declared the same thing, that it's up to you. If you want to work from home, do it. There is no constraint. Okay, so that's the thing. So we need, even probably that IBM have declared they are going to reduce their office infrastructure expenses by 50%. That means they are removing their physical office spaces. Permanently they are shifting to working from home. TCS have already declared that 75% of their employees will be working from home from within 2025. So their target is by 2025, 75% of the employee will be working from home permanently, because this kind of pandemic may come anytime in future. So that's why they want to be ready with it. The company like Amazon, they have not been affected very much in some processes, because their work culture is working from home. Even from last 2 years, they have started working. In Kolkata, they are having near about 2,000 employees, Amazon, in the operations profile, but they don't have any office. Everybody, including the manager, everybody is working in the from home. Okay, the infrastructure has been provided by the company, and sometime officially they are having a small office. In a week, 1 day or 2 days, they have to go to the office for meeting and etc. But actual work is being done from home. So it may be the future. So if it is the future, so you have to be, so employability concept. Employability means the quality of the skill set that is required to get the job. Now in working from home facilities, you need to have some different kind of skill set, which may not have been required during whenever we are working from office. So that's why this employability things needs to be changed. That how to, now we used to interact with the customer face to face. We can understand the probably body language better in a face-to-face communication, but whenever we are trying to communicate through a video conference, it is difficult to understand the body language and take strategies appropriately. So that is the reason you should have developed different type of skill set, so that you can actually sell the product, convince the customer, recruit the people, do a financial analysis, whatever may be the job role, through online. So that's a different skill set that you need to develop, right? So that is the thing. So employment means either searching for jobs or getting the job and doing the job. That is employment. Okay, searching the job as well as getting the job and doing the job. That is employment. And employability means the developing the skill sets which may be required in the industry. These are the skill sets that is required. I'm developing that. So it is a fact. Though now there is a scarcity of jobs right now. I mean, people are apprehensive in hiring, but the people who are having the right kind of skill set, that is the employability, they are not having a dearth of job. They are having multiple offers till now, right now, because every companies want to hire them because they are the asset for the company. Why? I mean, because they are having that employability, that skill set that is required. Because during this challenging time, company would be looking for the people who are having high level of employability skill. That person, he is an MBA in HR, but this person is good in accounts also, finance also. So that means this person can contribute in both the field, HR as well as finance, and he has an interest in marketing. So I don't mind in giving him double salary and keeping him, because he or she can do actually 3 different kind of work. He or she can contribute. So this is employability. We need to be aware about what kind of skill sets that is required in the industry, what kind of skill sets people are looking for right now, whether I'm having that. If not, I need to develop that. In that way, we can develop ourselves and be ready for the job market. Okay. Now let us check actually these things, employment and employabilities. So employment, as I've discussed, that employment means it is all about getting a job or searching for a job. And employability means is about having an effective mix of skills, attributes and attitudes in order to be employed and function successfully in the required roles. So that is the basic difference. So employability means about the having an effective mix of skills and attributes and attitude in order to be employed. So in order to be employed, whatever the skill set that is required, developing that is called employability, right? So there is a tweet I have found about this employment and employability. So that I have just pasted, you can just check that. We should not measuring employment. We should measure employability. They are not the same. When employment falls, such as in recession, like now what is happening, when employment falls, employability often rises as the people acquire new knowledge or skill to make themselves competitive. So during this period, any recession, you can check in the history, whenever there is a recession, the employability used to be improved because the people would be developing new skill set in order to be remain competitive in the job market. So employability is the ability to get, keep and succeed in the job. So if somebody asks you what is employability, so in a nutshell, it is this simple thing. Employability is the ability to get, keep and succeed in the job. Because there are 3 things. You have to get the job, you have to keep the job, and you have to succeed in the job. There are 3 things. It is not only getting the job, because getting the job, you can get the job, but whether you can keep that, because if you are not performing, company will not keep you. So you have to perform regularly, and then you need to be succeed. I mean, you need to perform better than others, then you can move ahead in the career growth. So these are the 3 important things. So both now and in the future, as the economy shift. So now there is I can understand there is a recession, pandemic, lockdown, this is happening. So jobs are less, but we know that after 4, 5 months, 6 months, the jobs would be there. Now, am I ready for those jobs? What kind of jobs would be in demand? Am I having their skill sets? So if we can emphasize on that and develop ourselves, that is called the employability. Right? Any confusion you are having?
No, sir.
Okay.
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay, now understand the difference between the employment and employability. Someone of you was talking about this point, Ananya, I guess. That is, yes, it is employment means we used to think it is in the 1950s to 1980s. We used to think it is a lifetime job security. If we are getting a job, that means we will be retiring at the age of 60 and we will be having our retirement life. But now the concept has totally changed. The limited job security, if you can perform, you will stay. If you cannot, you have to move out, right? Jobs are permanent in nature, 1950s to 1980s, but now the jobs are temporary. Temporary means it is not that you will be getting a temporary job, but again, related to that security related. If you are not performing, it is temporary. Even it is written in the appointment letter or the offer letter, your retirement age is 60. But if you are not performing, you can be moved out anytime, because there is also written the notice period is 1 month or 3 months. So they can give you a notice of 1 month or 3 months, and they may ask you to leave. So that's the jobs are temporary, right? There is a controversy going on. Probably you know that through a Zoom call like this of 3 minutes duration, Uber have terminated 300 employees. Okay. So
Yes.
that's the thing. I mean, just for a call, they have asked employees to join a call, and in the call, the HR have told from tomorrow you don't have to come. That's it. So even a company like Uber, you can say, you can understand that Uber is a very big company and having global presence. They can do that. So that jobs are temporary. Work environment is static. Static means I know this is the work, this is the office I'll be going, this is my chair, I'll be sitting, this is my job. Throughout your life, you'll be doing the similar kind of job and you retire. But now the work environment is dynamic, right? Every year or at a regular interval, you need to learn new things. You may change your office, you need to change your office place, anything. I mean, everything is dynamic. Everything is prone to change. So that's why the work environment is dynamic. Well-defined boundaries and boundaryless. You probably earlier we used to think this is my job, this is my structure. I know this job, every day I'll be doing the job. That is my boundary. You know, not more than that. But now it is boundaryless. And that is positive also. I'm not talking about this, that's all negatives. Positive. Boundary means you know you are joining as a LDC, lower division clerk, and you will be retiring as a office superintendent. That your future is defined, destined. Okay. But in case of this situation, you can be anything. You can become the CEO of the company. You can become the managing director of the company. Anyone can do that if you can perform. So that's why it is boundaryless. Next one, company manages career. I mean, company used to decide what you should become and what should be your position, what should be your salary. But now it is self-directed. Okay, self-directed. So you would be deciding what do you want to do. If you can show the skill set, if you can show the performance, you can have that. And the last one is low emphasis on skill development, because your job is very specific. Job is very much environment statics. No additional skills are required. You have graduated with a particular skill set. You are retiring with that skill. Nothing else. But now your skill is important, because if you are not developing your skills regularly, you will be outdated. Because the skills that is required today, maybe after 2 years or 3 years, that skills or the technology would not be required. Okay, so that is the thing, that is the basic difference. So this mindset we need to develop. So this is the employment that is redefined. So we need to develop ourselves accordingly. Okay, so that is the thing, because we are in the 21st century, so we have to develop ourselves accordingly. Right. Now let us understand how the COVID-19 and the job market scenarios. What is the thing? These are all things we know, like there is a lockdown, and due to lockdown, there is no or less business for many industries worldwide. Any examples you want to take? Highly affected industry.
The tourism.
Right, very good. Tourism is a very, very highly affected industry. Related to that, aviation industry is also affected. So that is yes. Yes, right. So resulting into what is happening? If there is no business, that means they are not earning money. If they are not earning money, so that resulting into job losses, salary cut, no salary, and freeze in the new hiring in many industries. So this is the impact the COVID-19 have directly. There are several other indirect impact also, but that is the impact, direct impact. That is the COVID-19 on the job market. Worst hit industries that we have discussed: travel and tourism, airlines, hospitality, dining, restaurant, out of home entertainment, event management. Right. So what is out of home entertainment?
Movie theaters.
Like movie halls, the multiplexes, theater hall, etc. So this out of home entertainment totally closed. So that is the reason the in-home entertainment is being improved. Okay, alternative, because people need entertainment. So, but there is no scope for outdoor entertainment. So now we are having in-home entertainment through the OTT platforms. So that's why probably recent news, yesterday's news is that even some movies like this, probably this Ranveer Singh, Surya Vansham or something like that, was scheduled. I mean, all the movies are being released in OTT platforms like Netflix, Amazon, or the Disney Hotstar. But this movie have decided that they are going to release in the multiplex only. But yesterday's news that they are not sure that when the movie hall will be open. So that's why they are also thinking of releasing their movies in the OTT platforms. Though the OTT platforms are not, that much lucrative right now, because say for example, even if you are releasing it is multiplex, the amount of money the producer of the movie will be receiving, that is unlimited. They don't know. It is based on the market. They have probably invested 100 crore rupees. They may end up earning 1000 crore rupees, 500 crore rupees, 300 crore rupees, like that. But if you are giving this to OTT platforms, then that is a fixed amount. They may be discussing with Netflix to release the movie. So then probably Netflix is telling that I can give you 120 crore rupees. So now the Karan Johar is thinking, I have invested 100 crore rupees. I'll be getting 120 crore rupees, at least 20 crore rupees extra I'm getting, and whatever the money I have invested, I'm getting that. At least that is not wasted. So they are actually launching the movie in the OTT platforms. Though their earning is less, but however they are not in a loss. So that is the idea of this OTT platform release. So these are the worst hit industries. Then understand which are the industries which are doing good. There is online education platforms like EdTech companies. Like any example you can give of the EdTech companies?
Unacademy, Byju's.
Right, very good. Unacademy, Byju's, etc. So they are doing really well. Next one is the healthcare industry. Definitely you can understand, because the major consideration is the healthcare. So that's why probably yesterday news is Kolkata private hospitals have earned additional 17 crores each hospital during this pandemic. Okay, so that they should not have claimed, but they have actually earned this kind of money. So that is healthcare. Next one is the e-pharmacy. That is so that they are also doing really well. E-pharmacy, pharmaceutical companies, e-commerce, especially in the essential delivery, ITES. Probably you know that yesterday there is a report from Naukri.com. Working from home jobs has been increased 3 times in India, especially from the ITES company. Okay, so that is the thing. So they are doing well. That's why they are hiring. Next one is the OTT platforms like this Netflix, Amazon, or the Disney and Hotstar. They are doing well, right? Now, why I'm talking about these industries, which is what's affected, which is doing well, because so that you can understand whenever, if we are saying that this pandemic will continue as per WHO, World Health Organization, they are telling it will continue for next 2 years minimum. Within 2 years, that will be probably we will be relieved from this coronavirus. And if within that the vaccine can be, some effective vaccine can be introduced, then so we are expecting it will continue another 1 year, like that. So though people are telling within 3 months, within 6 months, or 70 days, the vaccines will be released. But let's check. I mean, we don't know. You have to be apprehensive that probably it will be taking another 1 year to settle the situation. So that's the thing. So definitely, whenever you will be graduating and searching for the jobs, so you need to understand which industries will be generating more jobs. As of now, these are the industries that are shown in this slide are actually hiring heavily right now also. Right, yesterday only probably you have heard one of the EdTech company Vedantu. Now Vedantu have actually given us a mandate of 350 MBA and BTech. Now nobody has just got surprised. Are you really having 350 vacancy? So he is telling, yes, we are searching the candidate very. I mean, we need to hire them immediately. We need a vacancy of 350. So you can understand that online education platforms are having huge number of vacancies right now. Even the healthcare, because the healthcare companies nowadays telling, even the government organization, that there is no requirement of the written test and all the process of the recruitment and the selection. Let us go for the direct walk-in kind of interview, because they have a huge requirement. There is a huge scarcity of the doctor, huge scarcity of the nurses. So those who are into that profession of the doctor or the nurses, they don't have any problem in getting jobs right now, because there is a huge requirement, right? So that is healthcare. So even in the e-pharmacy, like the Apollo Pharmacy or the Frank Cross or the Sasta Sundar, this kind of thing. So they are also hiring freeze. I mean, they are also hiring actually. So e-commerce, you know that Amazon or the Flipkart, Big Basket, these companies are also hiring. ITES companies are regularly hiring. OTT platforms like the Netflix, Amazon, they also hire regularly. So these are the kind of industries that is going to hire. They are hiring and they are going to continue their hiring process next 2-3 years because their business is changing. They are having more number of business. So more companies will be coming in this platform. Okay, more nearly in the OTT platforms, probably we know this name like Netflix, Amazon, Disney, Hotstar, Z5, Hoichoi. These are the names we know. But in India, there are actually near about 100 OTT platforms are available, and more OTT platforms are actually coming. You know, all the film producers are planning to launch their own OTT platforms, right? So there would be new companies, and of course, the job opportunities will be created. So that's why you need to keep an eye about this kind of industries where the jobs will be created and what are the skill sets that is required to get a job in these industries. And you need to ensure that you are developing that skill sets within the next 2 years so that you can become job ready whenever you will be graduating as an MBA, right? So that is the thing, that is the reason I'm just talking about these industries so that you can have an eye. I mean, check any news that, okay, fine, you don't have to apply for the jobs, but check. This industry, online education platform companies are hiring, and these are the skill sets they are looking for. Okay, these are the skill sets they are looking for. Like, say, for example, this online education platforms, you know, the HR of that particular Vedanta have called me yesterday and told me, you know, suggest me the name of the students who are having excellent presentation skill. Okay, I don't require anything, you know, good knowledge in marketing, that is okay, but along with, I'll train them marketing, but they must be having good presentation skill. So understand, that means good presentation skill is an important. They're telling that they should be able to give presentations over online. So now how to give presentations online in a convincing manner, so that we need to learn. So that is one of the skill sets, how to prepare in PowerPoint presentations in interesting way so that people would be attracted towards your PPT and they get attached and engaged with your PPT. That is a skill set that is required. Sometimes you need to analyze the data in front of the computer, in front of the customer screen. You need to share the screen and analyze in Excel. So you have to be very good in Microsoft Excel. So this is an additional skill set that is required. So you need to understand that, you need to develop that. So like that, in every industry, there are different kind of skill sets that is required. So we need to understand that and we need to develop that skill sets. So that is, then we can develop our employability, right? Any confusion as of now?
No, sir.
No.
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir.
Now, how can I get a job? You know, it's a basic questions we are having. That is, you know, those who are working, how to change the job, or those who are fresher, you know, how to, you know, get them my first job. So that's the idea. I mean, that we are discussing. To be gainfully employed, you need to be employable. Now, there is a difference between employed and gainfully employed. Gainfully employed, what is the difference? What do you think? What is the difference between employed and gainfully employed?
No idea, sir.
Gainfully employed means whatever you are, you wanted to do, whatever you deserve actually in terms of benefit, in terms of salary, in terms of job description, job profile, whatever you deserve, you have got that. That is called gainfully employment. That means, I mean, you are utilizing your full potential and you are earning, you know, earning not only in monetary terms, it is also non-monetary terms, you know, social respect, your self-esteem, your self-actualization, along with monetary terms, you are earning everything. That is gainfully employed. That is, you are good at a particular skills or a particular job profile, and you are interested to serve a particular industry, and you have got a job in that industry, and whatever your salary expectation, social status expectation, self-esteem expectation, everything you are getting, then it is called gainfully employed, right? So that is the idea. I mean, you maybe you have done your MBA in business analytics. You are excellent in business analytics. You are very good in statistics. You know all the statistical softwares, like, say, for example, SPSS, Minitab, everything. You are very expert. But you are actually working as a customer support executive in the bank. Now your job profile is to meet and greet the customer, with a very good smile. I'm not telling that that job is not good. That job is also, every job is important, but that is not matching with your skill set for which you have developed that skill set. You are not doing that job. You are doing something else, right? So that means you are employed, but you are not gainfully employed. So that is important. So, you need to be gainfully employed so that you can, whatever you wanted, number one, and whatever you deserve, that is important. Whatever you deserve, if you are getting that, that means you are gainfully employed, right? So that is the difference between the employed and the gainfully employed. You may be getting, doing some job, that you are okay, but you are not gainfully, your aspiration is something else, right? Your aspiration is something else. You wanted to be something else. So whenever you will be getting that, that means you are gainfully employed. Okay, have you seen that particular web series that is called Patal Lok? Have you seen, any one of you?
Yeah.
No, sir.
In that particular film, there is a character, probably the police officer, whose aspiration was to become an IS officer. So he joined the police force in a lower rank, but ultimately that has been shown that he cracked the IS exam and IPS, he became an IPS officer. So when he become the IPS officer, so that means he is become gainfully employed because he deserved that. He don't deserve that, the low profile officer rank. He deserve an IPS rank, and he ultimately cracked that and got that. So that means now he is gainfully employed, right? So that is the difference between the employment and the gainful employment. So maybe your first job may be related, may not be related to your gainful employment. It will take some time to get into that position. Whatever you deserve, with the experiences you can get that. So whenever you will be getting that with your required employability skills, so then it is called gainfully employed. So in order to be gainfully employed, you need to develop the skill set. There is no other alternative, okay, for gainful employment. Next point is very important, that we need to remember, job hunting is a full-time job. It is not that suddenly I have got an email ID of an HR or seen a vacancy news in the newspaper or the Naukri.com, seen an the email ID, send an CV, and I'm expecting they will call me for the interview. Forget about it, they will not call. Because if you are only applying for one job, the normal ratio is, if you are applying for at least 40 jobs, if you are seriously looking, whenever you will be seriously looking for jobs, I'm not talking about right now, whenever you will be seriously looking for jobs, you have to apply for rigorously, right? I'm applying for 30 jobs, 40 jobs a day. So then in a week I'm applying for 200 jobs. Then probably we can expect 2-3 companies maybe replying to me. That is a expectation you should have. Because if my expectation is I'm applying for 4 jobs, they are going to call me for the interview because I'm an MBA, I'm having 4 years of experience. No, because there are hundreds and thousands and lakhs of candidates, right? So that we need to remember. Either we need to develop a excellent skill that is no people are having, or the very less number of people are having. So definitely we will be in hot list of the employer. Okay, but if not, then we need to go for it. This is the number. There's a normal logic. Increase the number, increase the application, increase the chances of getting called for the interview. So first, our objective is get shortlisted and to get an opportunity to give the interview, because there are lakhs of people who are applying for a single position. So you don't know that they will be calling for the 100 people only. Now, whether you would be one of them, that depends on various factors. Next one is the identify the industries which are hiring or will be hiring. That I have already discussed. That which industries are hiring and which industries will be hiring within next couple of years. So next one, identify the kind of skill sets they are looking for. What are the skill sets they will be looking for? Next, ask yourself, do I have those required skill sets? I'm having the skill sets. If you have those skill sets, nurture them, further develop that. If you don't have, develop that skills. So be ready for the right opportunity. Now we are having, I'm excellent. I know in the industry, VLOOKUP, HLOOKUP, pivot table is a basic requirement in Excel. Do I know that? If I don't, I have to learn. How can I learn? There are a lot of opportunities. There are a lot of free Excel courses available online. If not, go to the YouTube. You will be finding lakhs of videos on this pivot table and VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP and etc. Just do. Just open that videos and practice. You can learn. If you want to learn without paying, also you can learn. right? So that's the idea. So be ready for the right offer. So that at the time of interview, you said, yes, I know I'm an MBA graduate, I'm having this skill set, I'm having this experience, everything. Then they are telling, okay, this is the data, prepare a pivot table. Now you don't know how to prepare pivot table. So everything else was perfect. But as you don't know that how to prepare a pivot table during the interview, you got rejected. So you lost an opportunity because of that particular skill set. So that's why you need to understand what are the skill sets that is required in different industry. Let us prepare for that, right? So that's the idea. Now understand what would be the next step. That's a very important thing, that is prepare a professional CV. You need to understand that HR managers actually spend 30 seconds per CV. So you can understand that how much information they can get within the 30 seconds. So we need to prepare the CV in a manner so that within the 30 seconds, they can identify the most important information about your CV. So you can understand, if it is for a fresher, it should be a one-page CV. That is mandatory. You cannot create a CV which is more than one page for the fresher. And that within that one page also, the first half of the page would be seen by the HR. So in the first half, the most important information should be given, like what is your objective, because if you're a fresher, you would be selected based on your qualification. So your educational qualification must be displayed at the top, like your MBA, then before that BCom or BBA or BTech, anything before that, 10 plus 2, 10, which year, what percentage, that should be mentioned. And most importantly, all your contact details like name, phone number, email ID should be there. Because if I find, okay, fine, this candidate is good, I think MBA marketing, the good percentage, even before that BCom and MBA finance, so I am looking for a person, and so I can shortlist him. So let us call. Now he is looking at the top for a phone number. Now he is not able to find, because you have given your phone number at the bottom as a contact details. You are rest assured nobody will call you, because they are not going to check at the bottom to collect your phone number. They will, okay, fine, he has not or she has not given phone number, they get rejected. Let's go to the next CV. So that's why preparing a professional CV is very important. Okay. Next, an excellent cover letter. Whenever you will be sending a CV through email or by post also. Now, of course, nobody is sending by post. You will be sending by email only. So you have to develop a customizable cover letter. For every company, you need to change it. There is a tendency for the fresher specifically, whenever there is they got an email ID for the HR and that have been asked to send their CV, what they are doing, opening their email inbox from the mobile and forward the CV that they have sent in earlier company. What is happening? Say, for example, I am working in TCS and you are sending me the email to me, the CV to me, and which you have sent to Flipkart. Now, what I will receive? I will receive a forwarded email with an attachment in the CV, and I can see the CV has been forwarded to Flipkart. This CV has been forwarded to Amazon. So what, as a HR, I will be thinking, let him what on those companies, let him immediately, I will delete that email. Trust me, I am not going to open the CV. No HR will open the CV and call. No, because that means you are not giving importance to that company. You are not at all interested. You are just forwarding your CV. That means you don't have a time to type a letter, type an email and attach the CV, or just do some little bit of editing in the email so that nobody can understand. You are just forwarding. You are just taking some extra initiative to apply. If you don't, that means you are not interested. You are just forwarding. I'm not going to take it. Next, what is the importance of the cover letter? I'm giving a practical example. That when I have asked few of our students to send CV to a particular HR, that is the HR email ID, please send your CV. Now that HR have called me, and there are two eligible students they have sent, but they have not got a call for the interview. Then I have called the HR. That what happened? Did not you receive the CV? She told that yes, Amitava, I have received the CV, but I just wanted to show you the cover letter. Now in the cover letter, what she has shown, there are grammatical mistakes, there are spelling errors. So she told that when I see this cover letter with grammatical mistakes and the spelling error, so that means he or she is not giving importance to write a appropriate cover letter. So that means I have no interest in opening their CV. I have not seen their CV. I have rejected them by seeing the cover letter, right? Because they cannot give appropriate time in developing an appropriate cover letter. They cannot check, because this grammar and the spelling can easily be checked in the Gmail, mail, because there are softwares, they will be giving you input that this is the spelling is wrong. This is a grammatical mistake. They will be giving you the input. That means you have not checked that. They have given, but they have not checked that. That means you are not interested. So that's why, that is the reason they have told, if they are not interested, why I'm going to call them for the interview? I'm not going to call them. So understand, these are the very basic things we need to check, right? Next one is the professional looks photograph. That is very important. Sometimes because of the selfie era, everything we are trying to do from a selfie. So take a photograph of our own, take a printout of that and paste it in the CV. But don't do that. Always prepare a, take a photograph in a professional dress. So then paste it in your official CV. Next, very important, invest in your dress for the interview, right? Keep aside at least 2 sets of dress for the interview, at least 2 sets, so that just, you never know when the interview call will come. Suddenly in the evening, you got an information from the college that tomorrow there is an interview in the morning. Now you are telling or thinking that your dress are not properly pressed. That is not cleaned. So how you can go for the interview? Because the first impression is the last impression, that you need to understand. So that is the reason you have to invest in your dress, and that should be ready for the interview purpose only. So whenever there is an interview, you will be utilizing that. So that's important. Next one is keep at least 10 copies of your CV printout, because that is a issue. Whenever there is a sudden interview, you'll be finding your CV is not printed. Even they have asked for 5 copies or 3 copies of CV, you are having 1 copy of CV, and there is no Xerox center open right now. There is a lockdown, there is a ban, or your local market is closed. Anything can happen. So because of that, you are not able to go for a particular interview because you are not having appropriate number of CVs. You thought that you will be getting it photocopied in front of the office, where you are going for the interview. But maybe there is no Xerox shop. There is a possibility. Then what will happen? Right? Again, keep at least 5 sets of documents. Photocopies of all the documents, like from 10th mark sheet to your graduation, your 12th, everything. 5 copies should be ready. That is happening. Yesterday only we have faced the same problem, that we require some documents to be submitted with some company and the university. So we have asked our students to send that, and they are telling that no, I am due to the lockdown, I am at my home and the documents are at my mess or the paying guest or the hostel. And there are a lot of things. That means they are not ready. Even say for now, it is just a 1 document we are talking about. If there is an interview, they have to send. Now see, most of the people will not be eligible for giving the interview because they are not ready with the document. Right? Simple thing. So that's the idea. We have to be ready with this document. Every time, at least 5 sets are kept at my file. Anytime I can do it. And have a soft copy file also in your mail. So if companies are asking you to send all the document, you can instantly send that. You don't have to again scan it. Now you are not having a scanner. Now there is a lockdown. That's why there is no scanning facility available. Then what will happen? So keep it handy. Whenever there is a possibility, scan it and put it in the mail so that all the documents are ready. Whenever there is a requirement, I can send instantly. Okay. So that's the idea. Next one is keep the 10 copies of the passport size photograph ready. That is also important. Sometimes companies have a requirement like keep 4 copies of passport size. Now you are having only 1 copy, right? So that's why in standby mode, at least 10 copies of passport size photograph should be ready with you, right? These are the basic things. It is not that if you are maintaining all these tools, that means you are getting a job tomorrow. No, this is the basic thing so that you should not lose an opportunity. Okay. So opportunity matters. So you should not miss the opportunity because of these small things, right? So these small things matter. So you should be ready with it. Next one, whenever you now see you have got a interview call. So then what you should do? Next one is the first is very important is visit the company website. You have to visit the company website. Get as many information as possible. Find out as many information and which industry they belongs to. Have they recently signed up any contract? The list is endless. Anything, any information you are finding from the website, jot who is the CEO, who is the managing director, when they have started, where is their head office, what are their product portfolio, everything you need to jot it down. Whatever, as much as information as you can, grab it. So that at the time of interview, whenever they will be asking you, what do you know about my company, why you are applying for this position? So that will be easier for you to answer when the company will understand that yes, you know, because say for example, you are giving answer like this, I want to join your company because I am very much aligned with the focus of the CEO of your company, Mr. X. Because I was just going through the video of Mr. X, who was talking about his vision and mission about his company in the next 10 years. And I am very much aligned with the vision, and I want to be a part of his vision only. So that is the reason I want to join. So that means you have invested your time in understanding and, you know, going to the website, going to the video, going to the messages of the CEO. And so that means they will be thinking that you are really interested for my company, right? So that's why this is a basic step you should follow, right? Now, next one, you know, this is a very simple thing. Before the interview, at least, you know, going for the interview at least 10, 12 hours before, if you can go for a good gym session, that is actually keep you focused, right? So it is not that just before going for the interview or going for the gym. So no, don't do that. Before at least, you know, 10 to 12 hours before of the interview, you can go for a gym session. So that will actually keep you focused, okay? This is very important. Make certain that you have taken enough rest just before the, you know, night of the interview. You can celebrate after you land a job to avoid such festivities at the night before. That some of your friend have called you for a, you know, birthday party at his flat. Don't, you know, do that, because ultimately you will not have a proper sleep before the day, before the interview day, and you will be yawning. You will be having eye bags. So that will not be creating a good impression, right? So that's the thing. So you know, make certain that you are taking enough rest. So that is important before the interview. So next, you know, key takeaways is you need to, you are smart if you are considering every interview is very competitive. You know, a lot of people will be applying. You need to understand that, and you need to prepare accordingly. If you are thinking that no problem, because this kind of profile, you know, how many number of people will be going, I will be going, and few other people will be going. Ultimately, I'll be landing up the job. No issue. Don't take that very, you know, lightly. You know, for every job there would be competition, and especially in this kind of situation, right? So be the best you can be by following the discussed steps that we have discussed, and your odds of having successful interview will be greatly enhanced. So you will be one step closer to the next position. So if you are following all these steps, so you will be closer. It is not that you will be definitely going to get a job, but you know, that will be help you to be getting closer, especially in this kind of situation actually. So till now, if you have any question?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir. No,
No, sir.
No.
To understand, I mean, frequently asked interview questions. You know, as we used to ask our, you know, faculty members, professors, school teachers, that sir, please give some suggestion. Key question ashbe. Please give some suggestion. So similarly, in the interview, especially for the fresher level of interview, the questions you are seeing in this screen are the common question. You are bound to get this question. The people are going to ask these questions to you at the time of interview. That's for a fact. Everybody, I mean, in every interview. So if I know these are the, you know, questions that will be asked at the time of interview, why should not we prepare for it from now? We are having 2 years of time. If you can develop this answer of these questions, so definitely within 2 years, at the end of the 2 years, when the interview will be, actually your interview will be started for the summer internship, even after you know, first semester is over. Okay, then your final interview will be over. The final interview will be started after your second semester is over. Okay, so that means you are having 1 year time. So within this 1 year, if you can develop the answering these questions very, very smartly, so you are you know, one step ahead in getting jobs, right? So number one is the tell me something about yourself. So tell me something about yourself is a question which allows you to sell yourself within 1 minute or 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes. So you know yourself better than others. So you can understand what is your strength, what is your weaknesses. So which point is applicable in which kind of job, that you need to understand and customize your tell me something about yourself job. Like say for example, some of you have done BCom, then you have done your MBA in finance. But as I've told you now, the companies are looking for people with multiple skills. It does not mean that MBA finance will be doing, will be having only finance related job. I mean, they will be having HR or the marketing or the business analytics job as well. So what kind of job profile they are offering, based on that, you need to customize your answer. Now you have done BCom, you have done MBA finance. Now the job is actually related to customer relationship management, where finance knowledge is very negligible. I mean, they are MBA finance can apply, they can do the job, but there is no requirement of very high finance knowledge. Now at the time of interview, if you are talking, when they have asked you about, tell me something about yourself, now you are talking about your all accounting knowledge and the accounting skills. Like, I have done my BCom, I'm very good in accounts, I know tally, I'm very fond of in analyzing the balance sheet and etc. I'm good at developing trial balance, and I'm good at say I have done a project on SAP FICO that's related to finance, so I'm very good at that. If you are telling that at the time of interview, when they ask you, tell me something about yourself, you are rest assured you are not going to be selected for the next round of interview. Now, can you tell me why?
Because there's no need for these requirements.
Right. Now, no need, that's a different thing. One important point is that means you are very much interested for finance related profiles only. You are not interested for CRM related profile. Okay, customer relationship management profiles. So that means your skill set does not match, your interest level does not match. So I should not waste my time in taking interview of yours. So that means whenever we are going for an interview of a particular profile, our customization, our tell me something about yourself answer should be customized. Our CV should be customized according to the interview I am applying for, according to the job I am applying for. I need to customize my CV, I need to customize my speech. We need to understand that. Right? Are you getting my point, what I'm trying to say?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right? So say for example, in the CV, there is a portion that is called objective. Now you have done your BCom, your MBA finance, and you want to become a finance professional. That is your objective. You are writing that I want to become a finance professional in a reputed organization. That is my objective. It is a good objective if you are applying for the finance job, finance support finance job. Now, if it is a job which is related to little bit of marketing and finance, little bit marketing flavor is there. Then if you are writing in the CV, I want to become a successful finance professional, then probably your CV may not be shortlisted because you have only written you want to become a finance professional. Okay, so better, that's why it is better for a fresher, your objective you should write, I want to become a successful management professional, not any specific domain. Then that is a wide applicability. So anybody, okay, he has written or she has written management professional, so it is a management related job in marketing, HR, finance, anything, so I may shortlist him or her, right? So that customization is required. Your cover letter should be customized, your CV should be customized, and your speech should be customized. So you need to understand what to tell and what not to tell, right? So that is very important. Next one is, why should I hire you? So at that point of time, you need to talk about your skill set, which is matching with the company requirement. You are probably in this kind of position, you would be requiring for a person with an excellent presentation skill and the communication skill. Trust me, I am having that. You may be looking for a person who is very much hardworking, okay, and dedicated with high level of accountability and the responsibility. I am having that. Right? You are looking for an MBA, I am an MBA. Okay. So that means whatever the qualities or the skill sets you are looking for, I am having that. So that is the reason you should hire me. Right? So that is the thing. So sometimes people used to tell that, no, I need a job, because I have taken loan for my MBA. So that is the reason I need a job. So nobody is interested about your problem. That you need to understand. Okay. So sometimes, they will be asking you, why should I hire you or something like that. So you should not talk about, why company is hiring. Company is hiring you to solve their problem. There is a vacancy. They need some good quality people. They can serve the company to increase the company's profitability or whatever their objective is. So if they are not hiring you to solve your problem, that you make it very, very clear. They are not hiring you to solve your problem. They are hiring you to solve their problem. So at the time of interview, if you are talking about your problem, that would be futile. I mean, they are not interested about your problem, right? Rather, that will hinder your selection process. Rather, talk about their, how you can solve their problem. Because, you are hiring me for this kind of, consumer satisfaction. So I am having this kind of skill sets, and I can rest assured that I can, improve the level of customer satisfaction to a great level if you can give me an opportunity, right? Because I have done my internship in the consumer satisfaction only in this company for 2 months, and I have done 3 projects on consumer satisfaction for these 3 companies. So I am having adequate skill set in handling or improving consumer satisfaction. So you can give me a chance to prove myself, right? So this is the thing. In that way, you need to tell, so that the HR or whoever is taking the interview, they will be feeling confident about you. Okay, fine. I'm taking for CRM, and he is having experience, exposure in CRM. He is not just a fresher. During his internship, he has attended a lot of workshop on CRM. He has completed few projects on CRM. He completed the internship on CRM. So definitely he may be a very good candidate. So that should be the answer of the why should I hire you. Even the same thing, you are applying for an accounts job. You are having a BCom but MBA in marketing. But they are telling any MBA can apply. So you have applied. Now then you need to talk about your finance related exposure, accounts related exposure during your BCom, whatever the things you have done, how good you are at Tally. I mean, how Excel can be utilized for the financial analysis. You have to talk about that. So why should I hire you would be different from jobs to jobs. So that you need to understand that what are the skill set of yours you should be talking about. I'm not telling that you have to tell something lie. I mean, whatever the skill set you are not having, tell that. No, you cannot, because that everything would be checked. If you are telling, that means they are not going to accept. So whatever what I am talking about, that whatever the skill sets you are having, not all the skill sets or the qualities you have to tell in every interview. You need to customize that as per the interview. Whatever the HR skills you are having, talk during an HR interview. Whatever the accounts or finance skills you are having, you should talk during a finance interview. Whatever the marketing skills you are having, you should talk during the marketing interview. So that differentiation you should make. Then it will be easier for you to crack the job. I mean, crack the interview. Next one is, what are your strengths? You have to be very much specific. It is not that at the time of interview you are just thinking what are my strengths. You are rest assured this question will be asked at the time of interview, whenever your interview process will start. So be ready from today. Jot it down in a paper exercise book. Okay, these are the strengths I am having. So I am going to talk about these 3 or 4 strengths. Okay, so what are your strengths? So that question is to prepare. Now, if you are directly just telling I am very much hardworking, I am having positive attitude. If you are talking about this, anything, you can tell I am having good communication skill. But whatever the point you are giving, the HR or the interviewer will be asking you for an example. Okay, you are telling you are hardworking. That's okay. I'm accepting that. But tell me, give me an example where you have shown you are hard worker or you are hardworking. Okay, so that you need to tell. Give an example. So whatever the point you are telling, be ready with a real example. With a real example. Hardworking, because say for example, during a college fest, suddenly there was there's a college fest, and there are 2 guests who are supposed to come. They have refused just within 4 hours before the program. Then we have really worked hard in this way to make the program successful by arranging some other guest. So how you have done that? You have to give a real example, because if you are giving a fabricated example, the HR can understand you are fabricating. So you have to give some real example, right, of your strength. So if you are giving 3 points or 4 points of different skill sets or different strength, you have to be ready with 4 examples. Okay, 4 different examples. Next one is, what are your weakness? Now, if you are telling whatever the weakness you are having, you should be come up with a solution. What you are doing for that? Say for example, you are telling I'm not very good in numbers. Mathematics is not my forte. So I'm not good at it, but I know that some amount of mathematics knowledge is required in any kind of business management activity. So that's why I'm taking some additional sessions online to improve my skill sets in mathematics. I am having little bit apprehension about my presentation skill. Though I'm very good at presentation, but I need to improve that. So that's why I'm taking some online presentation skill classes. So whatever your real weaknesses are, identify 2 or 3 for that, and whatever the things you are doing for that, that also you need to do it. So what are your weaknesses that you need to develop? Next very important question is, are you open for relocation? It does not mean they are going to relocate you. You are from Kolkata, they are asking that are you open for relocation, because we are thinking that I'll be posting you in Hyderabad. Are you open? So this may not be right. I mean, they will be giving you a position in Kolkata itself. But however, this is an attitude question, that whether you are open. Okay, I'm just giving a specific example of Cognizant. Cognizant this year, whenever they have came for hiring on the campus, they have told me, the HR have conducted a session for the faculty members. In the program, they have told that at the time of interview, I will be asking, are you open for relocation? I can give you posting at any point, anywhere in India. So are you open for that? I will be, they have told us in personally that all the vacancies are in Kolkata. But at the interview, we'll be asking that, are you open for relocation? I can give you posting anywhere in India. If their answer is no, instantly I will be rejecting that candidate. No matter what is their performance during the written test, interview, technical interview, they may be superb. They may be number 1 in the list, but I will reject that candidature if the answer is no with that question, that are you open for relocation? If somebody is telling no, or I have to think, I have to talk to my parents, in all this kind of answer, I am going to reject that candidate. And it is happening. And this HR was good that they have told us that, prepare your students, because if they are telling this, I am not going to select. So no, or not all other HR will be telling openly. They will be asking this question. If the answer is no, whatever your performance, whatever your quality, I am going to reject. So that's why, because that is an attitude question, that whether for the company benefit you can move out. So that's your question. Your answer would be, yes, I don't have any problem in moving out, because if the company require, I'll definitely open for relocation. That should be your confident answer, right? Next one is, are you ready for go for night shift? Again, that is an attitude question. Then that question may not be a right one. They are may or may not give you night shift, but however, they are going to ask the question, are you open for night shift? Any answer you wanted to give? What would be your answer if the question is, are you ready for night shift?
I'll manage.
Okay, fine. Anything else?
Yes, sir,
If
I am ready for the
necessary, I
night
will.
shift.
Okay. Anything else?
Sir,
No,
if
sir.
it is necessary for the company, then I will definitely.
Okay, fine.
I'm comfortable with day shift, but if there is any requirement that I need to shift to night, that I need to do the night shift, I can do that.
Okay, fine. Actually, that is a good answer. There's a positive answer they are looking for, but that would be more comprehensive if you are telling that I'm ready for any kind of shift, and say for example, people like doctors are telling they are not going for night shift. The police personnel are telling they are not going for night shift. The pilots are telling they are not going for night shift. The military personnel in the border, they are telling they are not going for night shift. So if everybody have started telling they are not going for night shift, then what is happening to our society? So if these people like the doctors, the nurses, the police, the military personnel, pilots, the drivers can go for night shift, what is the problem with me? Right? So if you are giving the answer in this way, they would be feeling much more confident about you, that you are very much positive about the shift. You don't have any problem, right? So in that way, you need to give the answer that if all these kind of professionals can go for night shift, what is the problem with me? I don't have any problem. I can also work in night shift. So that means, that shows you are very much confident about your own decision, right? So these are the very, very common questions that are going to be asked at the interview, any interview. So from today itself, start preparing it. Write it down, so that these answers you don't have to think. You will never fumble for any questions. This kind of question, these questions will be asked, so that you can answer. Next, this is a very important question. Where do you want to see yourself within the next 5 years or 10 years? You need to prepare that within the next 5 years, these are the things I need to do. Within the next 10 years, I need to do these things. Be prepared. I mean, 4 or 5 points. Be ready. Write it down. Show us to us. I mean, whether you are perfect or not. Prepare it. What is your plan for the higher education, right? So that is important. Higher education, whenever you will be completing your program, MBA program, then if the question somebody asks you that are you going for any kind of research program or some other certification program, higher education full time, then your answer would be that no, at that point of time I'm not interested to go for any higher education. I'm just focusing on jobs. That would be the ideal thing. But if necessary in future, there are some specific certification program that is required to be updated with the job, to be in the job, I'll definitely do that. So that's the idea. Next one is, why do you want to join our organization? That I've told you. You can give the answer in a better manner if you go through the websites. Okay. Next one is, what do you know about our organization? Similar questions. Why you want to join organization? What do you know about our organization? Similar questions. Next one is, what is your salary expectation? If you know the salary that has been mentioned at the newspaper or the campus notification, anything, so you can talk about that in the notification. I have seen the salary is this, so I'm okay with that. If there is no salary mentioned and you are a fresher, you don't have any experience, then your answer would be as per industry expectation. That is a safe answer. Okay. Industry expectation. But if you are experienced, you are already earning, so definitely you will be asking something more than that. So that's the idea. So salary expectation answer would be like that. That is, what is your salary expectation as per the industry standard? So that's better.
Sir, what if they ask for a definite amount?
No, that's the thing. I mean, you will be talking about industry expectations. That number one. Number two, in the whenever you will be searching for this thing, I mean, about the company. So you can go to the career section also. You can have an understanding that what is the salary level they are offering for the initial position. Okay. You can also check glassdoor.com. In the glassdoor.com, you'll be finding all the feedback about the company related to salary, job profile, etc. So you can check those things. You can have an idea about that, right? And okay. So that's the thing. So you can have an idea that what kind of salary they are offering for the fresher. Because say, for example, they have a salary budget of, say, for example, 20,000. Just giving an example, arbitrary example. Now you are telling it is your expectation is 35,000. Though your performance in the interview is very good, they will not be able to select you because your expectation is high, because you may be demotivated after joining the company, right? Because your expectation is 35, the company is offering you 20,000. So that's why they are not going to select you. So it is, though the company is good, I mean, though they are offering you a salary of 20,000, 25,000, but till the company is very good and you can join that, profile is good, your career opportunities is good, these things. So you need to understand that. So based on that only, you need to talk about the salary things, right? So if somebody, this is again psychological question. Sometimes they will be pressurizing you. You are telling that industry standard or whatever the company standard. My company standard is only 8,000 rupees. Are you open for that? That is a psychological question. They want to test. So then, of course, you should, talking about what is your minimum expected salary. Because interview is all the time is a two-way interactive process that you need to understand. You can also discuss that what is your expectation and why that is you are expected. Again, in this answer, some people used to give that, I need minimum, you have quoted a salary of 30,000. Now you are why 30,000? Because now you are telling, now I have an education loan that EMI comes around 15,000. So if I'm giving 15,000, I'll be having only 15,000. So within that 15,000, I need to survive. So that's why I'm looking for 30,000. So if you are giving me 15,000, so I'll, I cannot survive because I don't have any other money left. If you are giving me 20,000, I'll be having my 5,000 extra, and my room rent in Kolkata is 7,000. I even cannot pay my room rent. So that is the reason you should pay me 30,000 salary. And that is a very, very bad justification. You cannot tell that, because again, I'm telling you, they are least bothered about your problem. You can ask 30,000, you can ask 3 lakhs, no issue. You can ask anything. You can ask for 3 lakhs per month salary, but you need to justify why. That should be professional justification, not personal justification. You should give me 50,000 per month salary because of the fact, because I am having this qualification, these skill sets, I can give you this output. And that is the reason you can give me this salary. I'm sharing one example from one of our students. He was very much qualified. I mean, he is an LLB, then completed his CS, then completed his MBA. Now he has gone for a job interview, MBA in HR. Gone for a job interview in a, I'm not taking the name of the company. Their salary budget was 20,000. Okay, 20, not 20, 24,000. Now he has given the interview. He was actually a very brilliant student. He cracked the interview. And at the time of salary negotiation, they have told that I can give you 24,000. He told that, see my qualification and see my exposure. I require minimum 65,000. If you are okay, give me, I'll join. And the way he has told, the company was ready to see, the salary budget has been increased to 24,000 to 65,000 instantly because of his employability. Okay, because of his employability, he has been able to convince that he is suitable for, he deserved the 65,000, right? So that's the thing, that they have increased that. So that's the idea. So in that way, you need to justify your salary. It is not that it is a personal justification. I need this, I have to run my family, I have a loan. Trust me, company is least bothered about your problem. If you can show these are the skill sets I am having, I can contribute in this area, that area, I can increase the company profitability, I can increase the consumer satisfaction. So that's why I need this. Check whether I can able to perform. Give me an opportunity. If I don't perform, don't have to give me. So that shows your confidence, right? So that's the idea. That's called the salary expectation. In that way, you need to tell that yes, that's why I deserve it, right? Now tell me if you have any questions till now, whatever we have discussed.
No, sir.
No.
No, sir. None.
Okay.
Sir. Hello, sir.
Bolo.
Please tell me about the weakness part.
Weakness means you need to identify what is your real weakness. Okay. Sometimes you'll be finding in some YouTube video or in some blog about interview that you should talk about weakness which are actually a strength. But that is a very bad suggestion because the HR can understand that. Sometimes people used to tell, I am very much candid. I am very much open to communication. আমি সবার সাথে খুব frankly কথা বলি, open communication, candid communication এ বিশ্বাস করি। তো সেইটা আমার পক্ষে খুব খারাপ হয় অনেকের ক্ষেত্রেই, আমাকে সেটা অনেকে exploit করে. That is my weakness. But basically you wanted to tell you are very much frank, you are very much candid, and that is a very good quality. They should treat them as a weak strength. But the company, I mean the HR manager are not fool. I mean they can understand that yes, you are actually fooling around, right? I mean you are telling something which is actually a strength and you are telling that that's a weakness. So don't do that. You should come up with some real actual weakness. Okay, some, I mean not all. Okay, not all, some, like say for example, as I've told you that okay fine, I'm not very good in mathematics, so that's why I'm trying to develop my mathematics knowledge or the number knowledge, because I'm not good at statistics. But this is an era of analytics, business analytics. So if we have to be in business analytics some point of time in my career. So definitely the mathematics or the statistics knowledge is very important. So that is the reason I have joined some online courses on developing the skill sets, right? So whatever the weakness you will be talking about, you should be ready with some solution for it. That I may be not good in communication, but I have joined this program to improve my communication skill. So that's the idea. যেটা weakness হবে সেটাই বলতে হবে, একটা দুটো তিনটে maximum বলে সেটার জন্য what are the things we are doing to overcome that also we need to talk.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, anything else?
So what are the main points we should be careful while drafting an CV?
CV, as I've told you, I mean as I've told you, the CV should be divided in two parts of one page, right, from the middle. So at the top we should be giving our full name. In the left hand side we should be, I'll be sharing a sample CV so that you can understand. And the left hand side you will be having that particular your address, and then you will be writing your objective. Okay, then you will be writing your educational qualification, and that educational qualification should be from a reverse chronological manner. That is, you will be starting from MBA, then BCom or BBA, I mean graduation, then 10+2, then 10. And all the relevant information, year of passing, that should be in a tabular format. Year of passing, your major subjects, and percentage that should be there. Okay, and then you should be talking about your skill set. I mean, say computer skills, anything, whatever the skills you are having. You may or may not have a certificate for that. Certificate is not important. Whether you are having the skills, that is important. If you know Microsoft Excel, you should write that. Okay, it does not mean that you should have a certificate on computer certification or something. Don't require, not required actually. If you know, write it down. Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint, these are the three things that is very important that you should know that. Along with that, if you know some other softwares like the Tally or anything else, you should write that, or SPSS or the Minitab, any softwares you know, you can write that down. Then you will be talking about your languages, that is what are the kind of languages you know and what is their proficiency level. And then you can talk about your hobbies. These are the most important part you can talk about. At the end, you should you should give your personal information like your father's name or your guardian's name, address, I mean your place of residence, etc., phone number, etc., but the residential phone number. But your personal contact details should be at the top. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So this is
Thank
the
you,
basic
sir.
structure.
Sir, may I ask?
Sure.
Sir, what is your plan for higher education? How should I answer that? Like, I don't want to go for any higher education after MBA. So how should I answer that question?
That's it. So at this moment, I do not have any plan for any higher education because I have already completed my master's. Now I'll be focusing mainly on my job. But however, if there is a requirement to upgrade my skills in the area of my profession, I will definitely go for that. Like say for example, you have done your MBA in marketing and you are doing job in marketing. Now in marketing, the future is marketing analytics. So if required, marketing, and you can go for a certification on marketing analytics, a training program on marketing analytics. If required, if the job demands, so then I'll be going for that. So that is your answer. Or sometime what is happening, the company used to sponsor for some training program or the course that they are telling that you have already done your MBA, that is okay, but I want you to complete one certification on postgraduate certification on marketing management from IIM Calcutta. So the company is sponsoring that. So of course, if the company is sponsoring that, what is the problem? You can always do that.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Sir, the question, where do you see yourself in 5 years? How should I answer this?
Your answer, you need to think, but the normal structure is, if the question is being asked right now, if somebody asking you, so then your answer would be by next 5 years, my first objective is to complete my MBA successfully. So of course that 5 years comes within the next 2 years. So you can tell that. So after completing my MBA, my objective is to join a reputed organizations in a entry-level position and gain some valuable experiences within the next 3 years. Because you are expected to join after 2 years. So then you are having 3 years, you are joining at an entry-level job like management trainee and etc. Then I'll be gaining some valuable experience within next couple of years. And if possible, move into middle management from management trainee to assistant manager. Right? So that is your objective for the next 5 years. If they're asking you now, what is your plan for the next 10 years? So then you can tell that I have not thought very specifically as of now, but however, I have a desire that after within the next 10 years, I would definitely get into the middle management level, that is the manager of the senior manager position. And if possible, I would love to have some, abroad exposure. I mean, having some foreign assignment so that I can have some global exposure and understanding of the global business policies, so that with that knowledge, when we'll be coming back to India, I can utilize those skill sets in helping my company to improve themselves in a global standard. So that can be your 10 years plan.
Right. Thank you.
Right. Anything else?
May I ask?
Sure.
If the interviewer asks me that, do you think that you are fit for this job? So, sir, what should I reply?
I mean, that's the answer now. I have told you that why should I hire you? That is the answer. It is question related to this. So there you need to answer from the point of view of your strength and your skill set related to that particular job. That you need to tell. That because you should hire me, or I am suitable for this particular position because you are looking for these skill sets, and I am having these skill sets. So that is the reason you should hire me. I mean, you are looking for somebody who is very much confident, having good communication skill, having a knowledge in supply chain management, having a knowledge in distribution network, and who have done some internship related to distribution network. So I am having all the things because I'm confident, I'm having good communication, I'm having good presentation skill, and I have done my in the supply chain management domain and the distribution channel network domain. I have done some workshops related to this. So I think I'm best suitable candidate for this particular position, and that is the reason you should hire me.
Yes, sir.
Anything else? Actually, along with this, you need to develop two other things. Number two, definitely your subject knowledge. Right, subject knowledge, because the position you are applying for, if it is a marketing, you should have a good knowledge in marketing. If it is a finance, you should have a knowledge in finance, and HR, it's HR. And there are some other tests like this group discussion. So that's the additional skill set. That is whether you are a team player, whether you are able to work in a team. That is important. So they will be checking that quality as well. In the whatever the topics or whatever the point we have discussed today, it is basically about your individual capability. But whatever whether in a group capability, in a teamwork scenario, whether you are able to work in a team, so that will be checked during at the time of group discussion. That how you are behaving in a group discussion. We'll be having a separate session how to crack a group discussion, that we'll be having. But initially, definitely you should have this skill set as well. Okay, and another important thing most companies are doing, that is called the psychological assessment. Okay, psychological assessment. So they will try to understand person job fit and person organization fit. Person job fit means that we have already discussed. What are the skill set you are having? What are the skill set we are looking for? Is there any match? If there is a match, I'll be selecting it. That's the idea. Then most importantly, whether there is a person organization match, that whether you can be adaptable or you can adapt yourself with the organization rules, regulation, and culture. That is very important. Maybe you are a very skilled employee, very good individual, but however, whatever your personality type is, that is not would be matching with our kind of requirement. So that is the reason, in spite of the fact you have cleared all the rounds, and GD, test, interview, everything, you have a very good performer, but in the interview, the psychological assessment, we have found that your personality is not matching with the organization's personality. Then there is a chance they will not be selected. Okay, so that is thing, that whether the company's culture, whether you are able to match yourself with the company culture. So that is important. Right? So that is also we need to check, that whether our personal, we need to understand. We will be doing in our organizational behavior paper, we will be discussing about this personality part. So we need to understand our own personality, and we need to check that whether these personality are accepted, because different industry, different job profile require different kind of personality, and if that does not match, then it is difficult to work. Right? It is difficult to work. So that's why you need to that is also an important part. That also we need to develop. That is the personality development part.
Sir, I have to ask one question.
Yeah.
Sir, I'm asking that if someone having an experience in marketing, and if he or she is having the minor subject in marketing, then you having the finance subject in major, then what type of skills we should build for a finance job?
No, that's the thing. I mean, you would be generally you would be appearing for an interview based on your major specialization in most of the cases. So if you are doing an MBA in finance, so your skills should be related to that field. Okay. Now, company-wise, the skill set varies. Like, say, for example, if you are applying for a position called equity analyst, there is a position, equity analyst. Mainly in the stockbroking company, they used to hire equity analyst, MBA in finance. So then you should be having a very good knowledge in equity market and what are the different instruments of equity market. and you should have a very good knowledge about the share market and etc. How the share indexes changes and etc. So that you need to have a very good idea about that, right? So that is the kind of skill set that's required. Now, if you are applying for a position in an IT company as a financial analyst, so then your basic fundamental knowledge about analysis of various financial statement is important. No knowledge in share market or no knowledge in equity market that is required, or capital market that is required in that kind of jobs. If you're applying for a job at TCS in a financial analyst position, then your major applicability area would be to analysis of the financial statement or the bank reconciliation statement, etc. So the skill sets, actual skill sets vary from company to company and the job profile to job profile. Even say for example, if they're hiring you as a relationship manager, where you should have a knowledge in different kind of investment product, okay, financial invest, so that you can guide the customers where to invest. That is called the position of the portfolio manager. Your responsibility would be guide the customers about where to invest, so that you have a very good knowledge about different financial product, whether they should invest in the savings bank account or a example a mutual fund or some bond, where they should invest and why. Being a finance professional, you should be able to explain that. So along with that, you should require a marketing skills also, because why the customer will listen to you, why the customer will be investing through your broking company. So that depend on your marketing skill. So there is a combination of finance and marketing, both the skills are required. So in various domain, various skills are required. So based on that, you need to understand, like say for example, there is a job that is right now available in plenty, and that will be available, or rather will be increasing in number.
No, sir, my question is that, sir, I understand what you have told me, but my question is that if anyone having that means experience in marketing, then it will be helpful for finance, any post for finance.
No, that I'm telling you, na, again, that will be useful only if you are going for a job which require finance and marketing, both the skills. Like say for example, that portfolio manager position or the relationship manager position, where you should have a finance knowledge, which you have developed through your MBA finance. But that also require marketing skills, because at the end of the day, you have to ensure some business volume from your client. So in this case, your both knowledge, like finance as well as marketing. But if you are applying for a job in TCS as a finance analyst, there no skill of marketing is required. Only finance skills is required.
Okay.
So in that position, your experience in marketing will not be considered. That will
Sir,
not be
finance
a
or
positive point
marketing
for you.
is applicable for bank job, especially for bank.
It may be bank, it may be share broking or the stock broking company.
Okay, sir.
Any NBFC,
Okay, sir.
non-banking financial corporation, like this.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Right. Anything else?
No, sir.
Okay, fine.
No, sir.
Okay, great. So I had a discussion with Kapoli ma'am. So Kapoli ma'am have told that your next class will be from 3 p.m.
Yes,
BB
ma'am.
sir will be taking the class from
Yes.
3 p.m. Okay, so let us call it a day. So in the next session, we'll be definitely discussing on some other topic.
Will you be sharing the PPT in the group?
PPT as well as I'm trying to give the recording of this session also.
Okay, okay, sir.
Okay, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, I have a question actually. When will be having our summer and winter internships?
Huh?
When we will be having our summer and winter internships?
Okay, summer internship, it is officially it is after your second semester.
Okay.
After your second semester. But during this pandemic, if that continues, what will happen? There are some working from home internship that will come, and so that we can offer after first semester also. So if that continues, right? But officially, if you are talking about, it is after second semester.
Okay,
sir.
What's about our study materials?
Study materials, though, definitely each and every faculty member will be sharing their notes and the PPTs and etc. with you. And whenever the college will open, you will be getting the books as well.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
That the next class at 3 p.m. will be today only.
Today 3 p.m. by BB sir. Yesterday probably sir have taken one session. So today he will be taking from 3 p.m.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Sorry, sir, I have a problem. Last day I think other participants, but I couldn't join the meeting. As it has been created twice, but I couldn't attend any of
No. Why? What was the problem?
I couldn't attend the meeting as it was showing that the meeting will be started, but it didn't get started, or I don't know what was the issue, but I couldn't see any video call was not there.
No, from which meeting you are talking about? Which class?
The last class. Yesterday we had a class of Kakoli ma'am.
Okay, so whenever you'll be having any issue, I mean, ma'am or all the faculty members are available in the group. So if you are facing any issue, you can directly, ask. That is, you can ask for the link or the password. There may be some issues. I mean, probably the session yesterday was started a little bit late. Probably it was supposed to be started at 10, but it has started at 11 actually.
No, sir, it was started, but for a network problem, then we have started from 11.
Okay, got it. Fine. So you can ask that, because you can understand that there is a network, there may be some network issues. So you can definitely ask. You are having the numbers also there in all the faculty members. So whoever is taking the class, you can directly call also that I am having the issue. So what to do? I mean, can you send the link? Okay. Bolo.
Sir, when our offline class will be start?
That is not in our hand, right? I mean, it depends on the government policy. When the government will allow us to go for the classes, so we can go for, because probably within this 30th August, another lockdown instruction will be coming for what should happen on the first semester. First September. So I don't know. I mean, from 30th August, we'll be able to know what is the government instruction, because the problem is the fear of getting infected. That's the thing. So when the government will allow us, definitely we'll go for that.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Sir, what's the probable date of first semester?
I mean, you are talking about exam.
Yeah.
Exam generally it happens in the month of December. Usually it starts from the 2nd or maximum 4th December. It starts every year, but I don't know this year what will happen because of the delay in the session and etc. So let's see. It's totally depend on the university, but normally it starts from the month of December. Usually it start from 4th of December to 5th of December, and usually being completed by 20th of December.
Yes.
So I have a question.
Tell me.
So yesterday ma'am told us that we have to submit a migration certificate.
Right, yes.
So what is the deadline for the migration certificate?
Now, you should start preparing for now. I mean, university have not given any deadline as of now, but however, that create a lot of problem every year, right, with the student, because it takes some time to get the migration. So those who have already completed their graduation, I mean, they have finished their program, because until and unless you are getting your passing certificate, the university will not issue the migration, right? So those who have already cleared your examination, you got the result. So immediately in your university, you can apply for the migration, respective university. In most of the cases, the university are having online system of migration application. Probably you need to apply with online and paying some 200-300 rupees. So automatically within few, if it is totally online, immediately would be generated, or or within a week or within 2-3 weeks that will be generated. But that is mandatory, because those who are not from WPUT specifically, those who have completed your graduation from WPUT or the Maulana Abul Kalam Azad University of Technology, Macau, they don't have any problem because they are from the same university. But those who are from other university, they should pursuing it from now, because in some university that may take some time to get that migration. So those who have already completed the graduation, finished the graduation, got the mark sheet, they should apply, because those who have already not completed in the final semester, they will not get right now until and unless your degrees are you are getting the final mark sheet.
And so what if the college does not have the online facility?
No, I'm not talking, you need to understand one thing. Migration certificate will be issued by the university, not
Right.
the college, right? Like say, for example, you are studying MBA at SBI MCS or SBI SC. In these colleges you are studying, but the university is Macau, Maulana Abul Kalam Azad University of Technology. So if you want a migration certificate from here, you need to apply to the university. If you are asking us, we cannot give you migration, because it is the university's jurisdiction. So if you have passed out from Calcutta University, you have to apply to Calcutta University. If you have passed out from Assam University, you have to apply to the Assam University. So no college are not authorized to give migration certificate. It is the university. Usually all the universities are having online facility. If not, then you need to apply physically.
Right, sir.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Mandatory for all, right?
Mandatory. I mean, if you are not from this university, you have to apply. Because otherwise, what will happen? Because the rule, I mean, the logic, you need to understand the logic. Logic of migration certificate is so that you are not studying in two different universities.
But
Right.
sir,
And what is the deadline for that? For
So
submitting
deadline as of now, the university have not given any deadline, right? But what ma'am have suggested, if you can start immediately, so it will be easier for you, so that you do not have to wait for the university, because when the university will be giving deadline, they will be giving say 10 days time.
Okay.
Right. But if you are starting from now, so you should be ready, because it takes some time for some university.
but sir, I haven't completed my graduation yet. So how can I get the migration certificate?
And that I'm telling you to those who have completed, I'm repeatedly telling them, those who have already completed, they can apply. But those who have not completed, they are in the final semester. Final semester result is not out, because until and unless final semester result is out, even if you have given the exam, if the final semester result is not there, you will not be able to get the migration.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you need to wait when the everything is final, you have passed, you have got your final semester mark sheet, you have cleared, then you can apply.
Okay, sir.
So those who have completed, they can apply right now.
Okay, sir.
Actually, I am from Kolkata University. Okay. Hello. So I need migrant certificate or not?
You are from which university?
Kolkata University.
Definitely. As I've told you, your MBA university name is Maulana Abul Kalam Azad University of Technology. So that's why it's a separate university. If anyone who is from, like say they have done BTech or BBA, anything from Maulana Abul Kalam Azad University only, then they do not have requirement. But any other university, that is required. Calcutta University is a separate university. So that's why you require it actually.
Okay.
Fine. Any other question?
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay, fine. So let's call it a day. So please be there at 3 p.m. for BVSR class.
Yes,
sir.
Thank you, sir.
Where it will conduct it?
The link will be sent by sir. Probably it will be in Google Meet. Probably it will be sent in the group.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.